Hello everybody. Today I wanted to explore this speculative ecology scenario that I haven't seen anybody else covered. This video is inspired by those made by the Vividen. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. But I want to answer the question, could Spinosaurus thrive in Hell Creek, living alongside its rival, or rather the rival that the internet has given him, the Tyrannosaurus Rex? First things first, Spinosaurus lived in a wet environment in northern Africa several million years. I think it's about 20 million years before Tyrannosaurus Rex, and coexisted with many large dinosaurs and crocodilians. They mainly fed on very large fish and other dinosaurs. Considering Hell Creek is a lush floodplain, I think Spinosaurus would adjust well to this new environment. In this new environment, Spinosaurus would now have to forage for food. Hypothetically speaking, we'll drop in about, say, a population of 100 into Hell Creek to see how they would do. I think 100 is a fine number. And given that this video is inspired by the Vividen, that's the number he usually uses, so we'll go with that. But that doesn't play a huge part into what we'll be covering here. But yes, finding food in this new environment might prove to be a challenge to Spinosaurus, considering that the 1-ton Onchopristis, a very large swordfish from Cretaceous northern Africa, is not present here, and that seemed to be a big part of their diet. It's not present here in Hell Creek, so Spinosaurus would not be able to survive off of fish alone. The small crocodilian Brachychampsa may be a good snack for the growing Spinos, but past the subadult growth stage, they're going to need something that's going to fill them up. Now, considering how fast Struthiomimus, Pachycephalosaurus, and Infernodracon are, Spinosaurus likely would not try to attack them or try to hunt them unless it can ambush them from the water and catch them by surprise. Considering Spinosaurus's very slow speed capabilities, it's probably not a great idea for it to try and be a pursuit predator. Denversaurus is a large ankylosaurid, and it may be armored, but Spinosaurus is far larger and possesses greater weaponry. It could gain it the advantage, so Denversaurus could be a very troublesome but worthy meal for the Egyptian sailback. Considering Spinosaurus is primarily semi-aquatic and is adapted for hunting fish and crocodilians, things of that sort, it'd be kind of suicidal for him to attack any sort of large herbivores such as Triceratops, Torosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Edmontosaurus, or even the giant Alamosaurus if it ventured south enough. So it likely wouldn't be going after the giant herbivores. And Edmontosaurus, averaging around 5 to 7 tons in weight, Spinosaurus might be able to ambush them from the waterline and be able to kill them by catching them by surprise. But it would have to be the average Edmontosaurus, considering the larger specimens that are above 10 tons and could rival a Tyrannosaurus Rex in size, would probably kill it in a fight. So targeting the smaller ones would definitely be an option, and would definitely provide enough food for a Spinosaurus. Now here's the part I know you guys have been waiting for me to discuss. How does Spinosaurus handle Hell Creek's local apex, Tyrannosaurus Rex? Simple answer, he doesn't. Spinosaurus certainly did coexist with large predators such as Carcharodontosaurus, which could rival it in size. Tyrannosaurus Rex could surpass Spinosaurus in size, with some individuals being considerably larger than the Spinosaurus. And considering that Spinosaurus completely different types of prey in a completely different environment, they likely would not have come into conflict very often. And if they did, the Spinosaurus would definitely lose. Weighing less, being less agile, and not possessing the agility and bite force that the Tyrannosaurus Rex has to offer, the Tyrannosaur is much more adapted for combat than the Spinosaur. The Spinosaur is just simply outmatched. But again, they likely wouldn't come into conflict very often, considering that they have completely different lifestyles. Now, for the most part, it seems like Spinosaurus adjusts pretty well to this new environment, you think? Well, I haven't talked about the X factor yet. And that is, Spinosaurus' biggest threat are not the other large dinosaurs it has to coexist with. In fact, it's these smaller dinosaurs and other animals that it would have to deal with, while also having to coexist with a few aquatic creatures that might venture into the waters that Spinosaurus inhabits. That being Mosasaurus, Prognathodon, Quetzalcoatlus, and Dakotaraptor if it exists. We have found fossil evidence to indicate that Mosasaurus and Prognathodons and relatives like that would have ventured up into the rivers of Hell Creek, which could prove to be a problem for Spinosaurus. While Spinosaurus is very well adapted for maneuverability in the water, it would be simply outmatched by the greater mass and bite force of these mosasaurs. But the greatest threat to this newcomer to Hell Creek would probably be the Dakotaraptors, again, if they exist at all. We're still not quite sure if they're a composite of young Tyrannosaurus rex remains or if they're their own thing. Again, not quite sure, but I felt need to mention it just in case. But there are other smaller predators that fit into this category as well. But the biggest threat that I know for sure that Spinosaurus would have to deal with are the Quetzalcoatlus population. We have seen that they tend to go after the small, weaker individuals of a species, and that could prove to be a problem for the Spinosaurus population. Now, living near water could help because that would restrict the maneuverability of the Quetz, but yet again, they could swoop down, snatch a juvenile, and fly off. And if that happens enough times, it could dwindle the Spinosaurus population. But other than the smaller predators taking advantage of the young Spinosaurus individuals, Spinosaurus has a relative easy time in Hell Creek. But if a mosasaur of some kind is to venture into the waters or rivers of Hell Creek, it could definitely struggle. But yeah, that's about it for my Spinosaurus in Hell Creek video. If you liked it, like it, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time.